Or is this full-time MMA now?
I love full-time MMA right now.
Full-time MMA? Nothing else.
My life, man, yeah.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
Ever since Robert Whittaker beat Yoel Romero in the highly anticipated rematch at UFC 225, the million-dollar question has been, who deserves the next middleweight title shot? Who will Robert Whittaker's next opponent be? Is it Chris Weidman? Is it Kelvin Gastelum? Seems like we've came down to these two people, but when you come down to who deserves it more out of Weidman and Gastelum, that's where it gets a little sticky. That's where it's kind of hard to figure out. Because normally you'd say, oh, you don't know who the #1 contender is between these two guys? Oh, they fight for it. Winner fights for the title. Problem is, these guys already fought not too long ago and Weidman won the fight. So if you're using that argument, you would say Chris Weidman deserves the title shot because he beat Kelvin Gastelum. But that's not how it always worked. When you ask, what have you done for me lately? Clearly Kelvin Gastelum would get the title shot because he's coming off of a knockout win over Michael Bisping, the former champion, and also a split decision win over another legend of the division, Jacare Souza at UFC 224. So Kelvin Gastelum has did more lately. He's beat a lot of legends of the division. He's also a fresh matchup for Robert Whittaker. Kelvin Gastelum's never fought for the middleweight title. Hell, he's never fought for a title in his UFC career. But if he could fight for the middleweight title, it would be a new matchup for Robert Whittaker. Even though Whittaker's never fought Weidman, so that's still a fresh matchup for Whittaker as well. But as far as the middleweight championship is concerned, we've never saw Gastelum fight for the middleweight belt. And I don't know if that's going to play into him getting a title shot or not, but that's just another point to for Gastelum's case for this middleweight title shot. Now, with that being said, we don't know who's going to get the title shot. We still have to see how this thing unfolds. We still have to see if Weidman's going to be healthy enough to fight whenever Robert Whittaker's ready to fight again, as he has had an injury and it was set back a little bit. But as far as that's concerned, Robert Whittaker was just in a war. He might need some time himself to recover from this fight. So that could give Weidman all the time he needs to rehab his injury and get back in there in line for this title fight with Robert Whittaker. So with that being said, I don't know who's going to get the shot. If prisoner of the moment, if you ask me right now, who would I give it to with a gun to my head, I might just point to Gastelum. What have you done for me lately? I like the matchup. I think that'd be a super fun fight. But you know, I hear you if you make the argument for Weidman. So with all of that, Chris Weidman and Kelvin Gastelum have took it upon themselves to discuss this on Twitter, trading a little bit of barbs over the next middleweight title shot. This is what Weidman had to say. He said, I feel like I'm the most decorated guy in the division. I've had the most title defenses. He also said, I had a rough patch. I went undefeated my whole career. Then I lost one and happened to lose 3 in a row. Well, Gastelum heard his case for the next title shot, and this is what Gastelum had to say. Crispy. He's calling Chris Weidman crispy. I don't know where that's coming from, but he's calling him crispy. He said, hey, crispy, if your argument for consideration for a title shot based upon being the most decorated, then Whittaker should fight the Christmas tree in Rockefeller Center this fall. Yeah, clearly he's not using that term decorated. He's not saying I've got on the most ornaments and stars on my head. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, Kelvin Gastelum with a little witty, quick comeback. You know, saying being decorated isn't enough to get the title shot. Gastelum's clearly going with the what have you done for me lately theory. But Chris Weidman did not like Kelvin Gastelum's response, particularly the crispy part, so he responded. Weidman said, crispy? Now it's personal. My argument is simple. I'm ranked ahead of you, and I finished you in my last fight. Ooh, Chris Weidman just cut the bullshit, cut the chase. He quit trying to be political. You know, Chris Weidman's first response, he didn't talk no shit. He didn't say nothing. He didn't degrade Gastelum at all. He didn't say, you know, I'm ranked higher, or, you know, he didn't say he's ranked lower. He didn't say I just finished this dude. He didn't talk no shit and say, are you kidding me? Is this a real conversation? I just fucking ragdolled this guy. Like, are we really talking about this? He didn't get disrespectful at all, but then Gastelum came back with the crispy. So Weidman said, oh, okay, crispy. I got your crispy. Now it's personal. My argument is simple. I'm ranked ahead of you, and I finished you in my last fight. Strong case from the All-American Chris Weidman. Holy smokes. And off of that alone, he's got a great argument. I'm not even looking at the rankings, but if you look at the rankings, Weidman's ranked higher. And I wasn't even thinking about the rankings, but Weidman, you brought it out of him, called him crispy. So with that being said, we had this little bit of an exchange, Weidman and Gastelum. If you thought Gastelum deserved the title shot before, now that you hear Chris Weidman's argument, have you changed your mind? Who gets the title shot here? Weidman or Gastelum? Who knows, man? I'll keep you guys updated. We still got to see what's going on. How long is Robert Whittaker going to be out after UFC 225? Hell, if it's too long, Robert Whittaker did get injured, we could be looking at a Weidman versus Gastelum rematch to see who gets this title shot. We'll see what happens in that case, because we saw how the first fight went out. Pretty dominant performance for Chris Weidman. But at the same time, Kelvin Gastelum's been on a legend's ass-kicking tour at middleweight, and he's also coming off of 2 wins since that fight. So, hey, man, with that being said, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. And as always, thanks for checking out this video. If you're new, or if you're just slacking on your pimping, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. And if you want to help support this independent channel, you can either click the PayPal button in the description, or you can go to patreon.com/fulltimemma and consider becoming a patron. I'm out.
Bye, Felicia.